What's going on, everybody? This is Raw Dog Sports. I am Mike. That is Evo, and we have got a banger show today. We're going to be introing a new segment today, inspired by a movie quote. So the movie quote still continues on, but I didn't have one today. I was so pumped to get the off the hook player of the week done. I didn't come up with a movie quote. So I'm excited to be here. Evo, my man, welcome in. It looks like you got some new gear. Salute the service stuff, it looks like, and it is fucking awesome looking. My man, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm tired. I just inhaled 10 boneless wings and a whole bunch of potato wedges because your boy is very hungry. And it's din time here. And so I should be fully energized, good to go, ready for the show. Yes, rocking the salute to service stuff. Didn't order it because the government shut down. And, I was just making sure that money was going to be flowing in, and then everything lifted and got all the stuff in. I was actually wearing this last show, but you couldn't tell because I was on the iPad. Thanks to that. But we are back up and running on the computer. Don't know if it's possessed or not, but it definitely helped me out last week because I almost stepped on my crank with one of my predictions. And it turned me to selecting the Falcons.
It did.
Which ended up bearing fruit for me. So I'm very thankful for possessed computer. It's hopefully not going to get possessed right now because that would result in catastrophic failure on my part on the show. But, any little tips, tricks, hints that it wants to edge my way, I'll take them. But overall, it's pretty fucking good week as far as the gambling goes. Not so great as far as my football team. A nice one for yours.
Oh, yeah.
These are things that we will absolutely get into as we go through the show.
Hell yeah, man. I had a terrible week of football outside of what the Browns did. I lost in every fucking fantasy league. And it wasn't pretty. Oh, actually, I take that back. I think I won one. But for the most part, it was not pretty. But, man, the Browns showed me something that I haven't seen in quite some time. It was fun. It was fun to watch.
Throw more than 15 yards down the field?
Yeah, well, Dylan Gabriel threw 122 yards one time. He underthrew it. But, I mean, that one time he got that throw in the corner for a touchdown. You know what? You know what happened in that? I think it was in the next week. That same game, or maybe not. Screen pass over a guy's head that could have went for a touchdown. Should have hit that for a touchdown. Anyways, man, we got a lot of games to go over, but like you said, you kind of alluded to it already. I mean, we had a fuckload of picks to get done. I think it was a big ass week. 15 games this week.
Might have been. I mean, we can just pull it up here 14, and look at the results and count them out here. But yeah, pretty solid week for me. 11-3, almost went 12-2 if it wasn't for the Jacksonville Arizona game. You had the same sort of action happen to you between Pittsburgh and Chicago, and you ended up with an 8-6, a positive week there, rolling in the right direction. You brought your winning percentage up by a whopping 0.2%, which is a step in the right direction. And I believe I went up a full percentage point up to 59.5% for the year. 106 wins over here. I like that. I got to keep rolling in that direction. Enjoying that the picks went well. And again, Atlanta there almost went with New Orleans plus the points. And I don't even know if that would have technically worked. I don't think it would have. I don't think New Orleans was a plus 14 points. 14 and a half. So, again, thank you to the possessed computer.
Hell yeah. I was a little frustrated with Seattle. I had that game. That was in the bank and fucking backdoor cover from Tennessee. I was so pissed, dude. I was like, I was going to have like maybe a little hiccup. I was annoyed with the Pittsburgh game, but man, when Seattle, lots of green. When Seattle gave up that late touchdown, I was a little fucking annoyed.
There's a lot of garbage time points there for Tennessee.
Yeah, well, you know what? You live and you learn. It happens all the time, especially to gamblers. Vegas has $1 million chandeliers for a reason, guys. One of my favorite sayings: they don't give away money; they just take your shit.
Yep. That's true. But hey, we're going to try to continue rolling with this. We're going to go through each of these games for the week. And then we have 3 games to go over tonight as far as predictions, because we got things. Oh, God.
Oh, man. All right.
Thanksgiving coming right around the corner. And we got 3 games on Thanksgiving, which is always nice to be able to sit down and gorge yourself and watch some football. But before we get into that, we do have our normal weekly segment here, sponsorship or cease and desist letter. And this week's sponsorship is actually being brought to you by the NFL Disciplinary Committee. And it's a refresher report for the players' conduct policy. So the NFL Disciplinary Committee, Roger Goodell, Troy Vincent, Jordy Nelson, they all want to take a moment to remind the players, for all the players who do watch our show, because we know you're out there, just remind them of some of the baseline rules under the player conduct policy, which have been a bit of an issue this year. While we at the NFL are grateful that all the physical abuse of your spouses, girlfriends, children, and women of the night is at what seems to be an all-time low, or at least you guys are doing good of not having it be reported as much, we need to make sure that some of our other actions aren't making it onto the big screen. Yes, you have done a great job at hiding that PED usage, and firearms charges seem to be dropping, but also just take some time to remember that what happens on the field is actually being viewed by fans across the world. And we can't just sweep that under the rug because everyone gets to see it. Come on now, Jalen Carter and Jamar Chase. Hawk Tua was so 2024. And Trevon Moehrig, why you got to be dick punching in broad daylight? Save that for the bedroom or the bottom of the pile at the very least, where we can't see it. We can only use the excuse that Fox Sports didn't provide us a replay angle quick enough to cover up our obvious improprieties during the game and not afterwards. Please keep this in mind going forward so we can ensure our star players and Trevon Moehrig are able to be on the playing field each week. We wouldn't want to rob the fans of their viewing experiences. And more than that, we wouldn't want to rob our pocketbooks of all the fines that we make from arbitrary decisions. The NFL and the disciplinary committee, once again, just want to remind you that you should keep the childish antics out of the public eye going forwards and continue to try and cause as much physical harm to one another between the whistles. Of course, unless it involves one of our cherished quarterbacks, then you can fuck off. They're always a no-go.
Hell yeah. Great, man. I don't understand what is up with the players on the field. The spitting thing is insane to me. Dick punch, like, at what point do you just say, like, and obviously it happened with Jalen Ramsey, like, fuck football. We're not doing football anymore. Like, I'm about to beat the shit out of you on the field.
So that's the thing for me is, and I had a conversation about this at work, and I'm kind of interested to get your take. The spit thing to me, while it is absolutely a sign of disrespect and it's probably going to be a fight on site, I don't think it would infuriate me as much as someone punching me in the cock. Like, if you actually hit me and you hit me in the dick, I'm going to blows. I don't really care where I'm at that point.
Right.
But I had some feedback at work of being like, the spitting is like the ultimate sign of disrespect. That's worse. And to me, it's not. I mean, neither of them are good, but I also don't think that we should act like this isn't a very common thing that has happened throughout the years. I mean, we have Robert Gallery pissing his pants before the start of the game to get himself nasty. You got eye pokes and nut twists and stuff like that happen at the bottom of the piles forever. I mean, I would be remiss to say that, you know, we know our cornerbacks and our wide receivers out there, even when we were playing, you know, in high school and stuff like that. A lot of them aren't wearing cups because you get a little bit more speed and they're uncomfortable. And I was never that slim sort of a fella that could take up one of those positions. But I always thought, like, man, if I was a cornerback or a wide receiver and I'm running pace for pace with a guy, just on one of those swipes down, you just get a little flick in the beans. You take his 4.45 to a 4.6 for a little bit, and get a little technical advantage. It's a dick move for sure, and you have to be ready to scrap after that. But I mean, like, it's kind of crazy that, you know, we are seeing all of this stuff kind of live happen. It is all being captured on video, so there's no denying it. There's no like interview in the locker room afterwards being like, yeah, that guy was fucking doing this or that or the other to me, and we just have to take it on the player's word at this point. We are getting to see it real time, which is very entertaining.
I'm sorry, I had to finish typing that. Yeah, so the fight thing, yeah, 100%, I agree. I don't care. I'm absolutely getting into a fight, especially with Trevor Morig. I completely understand where you're coming from, and I kind of agree. Like that is the moment where I'm like, no, I'm done. It's a fight on site. The spitting thing is an egregious thing. Shouldn't happen. But if you hit me outside of the game, we're gonna have a fucking problem.
Yeah, I mean, he did hit him while the play was still going on. It was just
but that's
in the process of tackling, and it was a direct nut punch. You know exactly what you're doing when you're pulling that move. Same thing like when you got Christian Wilkins like finger blasting an asshole in the pile and stuff like that.
Dude, I've had some gross shit happen to me at the bottom of a fucking pile. Fucking dude grabbing my nuts, trying to squeeze my fucking nuts. It's not fun, I tell you that.
Yeah, for sure. But like I said, it's entertaining at least because we're getting to see it real time. It seems like we get to watch these on the broadcast, not like a clip that happened to hit the X space later or something like that. It's just interesting. I did bring up that little piece there of the punting penalty that wasn't. I don't know if you recall that from this weekend, but
that was where they thought it hit the thing, but it didn't hit the thing, and then there was
that was the punt was tipped, and then the guy after hitting the ball hit the punter. But once the ball is touched, there's no roughing the kicker anymore.
Correct.
And the NFL came out and said the call was made wrong. However, we blame Fox Sports for not providing us a replay in quick enough time for replay assist to help with it, even though they were showing it real time pretty damn quickly.
Listen,
shame on you, NFL.
I know how that stuff works. I've worked for ESPN, called a basketball game, and I know how the review process and all of that shit comes in. I can promise you that Fox probably had that fucking shot from multiple angles almost immediately. It takes practically no time for a 3-play to cut your fucking replays that come in. It takes almost no time at all. So I think that the NFL is just trying to cover their ass because something was done wrong. They're covering for the officials.
It's also not like a bang bang play where it's like someone can get up and snap the ball right away and you can't really give them the time to be reviewed. If you aren't aware, in professional football games, change of possessions, they aren't like 40 seconds, especially if there's a penalty flag thrown, which there was on this one. The refs have to all get together. They have to stroke each other off. They have to talk about what the penalty is and where the ball should go and how it should be enforced and all these things. So there's a significant amount of time.
Right.
And all the commercial breaks that you normally have, those are TV timeouts that take place during the game, which typically happen on change of possessions. So there's plenty of time for the officials, replay officials, everybody to view all of these angles. Like I said, they were showing the cut-ups pretty damn quick on TV. And if they're on TV, you know the officials have them available. So I do think it's just the NFL just trying to scapegoat a little bit, like, oh, it's Fox's problem for fucking not providing it. But it's probably your fault for not being on your A game with the call.
Yeah, I mean, that the NFL is never going to let it land on the officials. We know this. Doesn't matter what they do. Yeah. They'll never land there because they're not full-time employees.
If you ask my wife, if you ask my wife, it's her favorite part of the football game. The old cock watch. You're getting to see who's got a piece inside their pants.
Myles Garrett, apparently.
Okay. Didn't need to go there. But
listen, I don't know if you saw the video. Myles Garrett is fucking built different.
I don't know what video you're referring to.
So they have an interview with Myles where he is standing in the locker room in his fucking boxers. Myles Garrett is fucking built different, dog.
Fair enough. It's not part of my weekend ritual, but
Producer Amber is on it. I'm pretty sure Producer Amber has seen it.
Oh God, yeah, she's a screensaver on the phone right now.
Yeah.
Anyways, all right. So, is it time for our new segment, Mike?
I'm ready, brother. I am absolutely ready for this because we got a cool little intro video. I'm ready for what we're calling the off the hook player of the week. Raw Dog Sports off the hook player of the week. I'm just going to play the video and then we'll get into it and talk about what these players are.
Off the hook. Off the hook.
Man, there were some dudes that were fucking off the hook this weekend. And my off the hook player of the week is Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston is insane. We'll talk about his stats, but just to go and think about Jameis Winston's career arc, what has happened? Came to Cleveland, and I immediately fell in love with the guy. I loved his interviews, and he's moved around a bunch, but Jameis is always entertaining. We never know what we're going to do with Jameis when he's playing in a game because he could put up a shitload or he could throw a ton of interceptions. It's so hard to bet on Jameis Winston or know what's happening. But this weekend, he was showing his ass. Catching that, getting the flea flicker, evading in the pocket, yee, for fucking 50 yards on a dot, and then catching the back shoulder fade, making the defensive back, or actually, I think it was a linebacker, miss the tackle and getting in the end zone. Jameis Winston's off the fucking hook, dude. And off the hook can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people, but that shit was crazy. I loved watching Jameis this weekend, and the pick turned out in our favor.
Yeah,
so that's my off the hook player of the week.
He is extremely fun to watch, whether it's good or bad. I love that he's like a complete positive individual all the time and so uplifting through all these interviews and everything, even if he is goofy as fuck. Like, he is the Russell Wilson that you like to watch because he knows what he's doing as well, and it's a little bit of a character, and it's why he's going to have such a phenomenal career after sports. Like, after he's hanging up the cleats, he's going to be one of the best color commentators or guys sit on the panel, right there next to Fitzpatrick or whatever. Like, he's going to be fantastic to watch. Love me some Jameis, and he had himself one hell of a week.
Same week.
So my off the hook football player kind of goes in a little bit of a different direction here, but it's still off the hook story. We have a college football player from the University of Alabama at Birmingham, Daniel Mincey, 20-year-old redshirt freshman offensive lineman. Prior to the game, decides, I'm going to stab two of my teammates. That's off the hook, bro. It's pretty fucking awesome. Look, just to make sure that we get this correct, I do have the AP story pulled up here. I'm going to read a little excerpt from it to make sure that we get what known facts are out there. But University of Alabama Birmingham football player is facing charges of attempted murder and assault, accused of stabbing two teammates hours before a UAB home game last week. Court documents showed on Monday. Daniel Mincey, a 20-year-old offensive lineman, is charged with attempted murder and assault, according to the court records filed in Jefferson County. Authorities wrote in the charging documents that Mincey stabbed both men with a knife, though available court documents did not describe what led up to the alleged assault before Saturday's game. The stabbing occurred on campus at the football operations building hours before UAB played the University of South Florida. He's a 6'4" redshirt freshman from Pompano Beach, Florida, who was previously at the University of Kentucky. And then in even more good news for UAB, they took all of that energy, everything crazy that happened with the team, and they took it to South Florida and lost 48-18 to fall 3-8 on the season. So shout out Daniel Mincey, you fucked your career, you probably fucked up your life, and you are off the hook.
Hell yeah. Oh man, I love the off the hook player of the week already, because really you can just tell any story you want, any sports related story here, and it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, this is our first off the hook, and I have a little extra for us. We won't get these extras every week, but we do have to shout out one off the hook player who unfortunately isn't going to be seeing the field for the rest of the year. But we've talked about him a lot. Our boy, the nature boy, Cam Skattebo. Love this guy.
180! 180! Say hot, 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 hot! Somebody freaking jump! Hot! Did anybody jump?
He's Skattebo.
Fucking chair stands, no chance! Green 18! 180! 180, is that hot? My headphones fell off. Coach, I'm sorry, I didn't hear it. I didn't hear the cadence. I didn't know if it was false cadence or not. You jumped because a lineman moved? I'm out of breath. Have you met Eli Manning? Yes, I have met Eli Manning. I RKO'd his ass in the elevator.
That's our boy Cam Skattebo. If you haven't watched his Twitch streams, you absolutely should get on that. He's very fun, very entertaining. He is trying to make the best of his time away from football while recovering from a pretty bad injury. But he's a lot of fun. I know we brought up his antics and his Twitch streaming in previous episodes, but we want to make sure that you guys got to witness and see a little bit of it in case you're not on the talk.
Yeah, he's insane. He's a wild man.
Yeah,
and it's so fucking funny. Yeah, it's so fucking funny. Oh, brother, are we ready to start hopping into some recaps of games? I know we're 22 minutes in. Producer Amber's about to have a fucking stroke.
Oh yeah, but it's because she's looking at her phone screen wallpaper. Yeah, we can get into the games. Our first one up, we had the Pittsburgh Steelers going up against the Chicago Bears. We're rolling down the ESPN list here. Chicago Bears get the win here, 31-28. No Aaron Rodgers in this game, and Mason Rudolph wasn't able to get it done. Bears get yet another win. They are 8-3, still atop the NFC North.
Yeah, man, this game was interesting. I really thought that Pittsburgh was going to pull this thing out. Caleb Williams, I felt like, did enough at the end, but he wasn't. I mean, I don't know that he was great all day. This game did not play out at all the way I expected it to. Kenneth Gainwell was amazing. The fake tush push thing is brilliant. I think that's twice now that they've run that. I think they ran it on us for a fucking touchdown, and now again. So it's super smart. Mason Rudolph he's not a starter. The offense did look fairly efficient, pushed the ball down the field a little bit, but their team's not very good.
Yeah. Look, Rudolph was able to spread the ball around to a lot of guys in this game, but no one really stood out. No one had a big game receiving wise. And they were able to basically kind of control the game on the ground, but still Caleb on the other side was able to spread that ball around. 239 yards, 3 passing touchdowns, decent day from DJ Moore. Roman Dunze got involved, and they were just a little bit more efficient on the offense, able to get the dub here in the end.
Yeah, I don't have much else to say about this one. Pittsburgh is in deep shit, and their playoff chances are dwindling week by week.
Yep. Now, it's expected Aaron Rodgers will be back next week. I believe Tomlin said he's trending in that direction. I don't know that it really matters. I've been kind of out on this team for a while.
They're playing the Bills. I don't listen, and I know the Bills are down right now. The Bills have been kind of kicked around a little bit. I'm not picking the Steelers against the Bills. I can fucking make that determination right now. I don't even need to get into the fucking minutia of the game.
Well, you save that energy for Saturday, buddy.
Yeah.
All right, next up, we have the Patriots playing the Bengals. Patriots get the win in Cincinnati, 26-20. This is not the game where Joe Burrow came back. It was the last of Flacco time there, because it sounds like we are going to be getting Joe Burrow here very shortly.
Yeah, I would imagine that Joe will be back this week. He is going to have Jamar Chase back, but it sounds like will not have T. Higgins. It was a concussion, I believe. So it'll be interesting. But you know what? Their season's over. I don't know why they're bringing Joe back. I don't know that they have to run the table and get a shitload of help to have any chance to make the playoffs.
It does seem
there's just not, it makes no logical sense to me.
It's a very questionable choice. I mean, obviously, if the player is like, I want to play, this is my job, I want to help my team, I get it from that perspective. But you would think that GM ownership, someone would step in and be like, you are the lifeblood of our franchise. You are a franchise quarterback. Things are not going right this year. You are not going to go in and fix it. Even if you play stellar, like this is just not working. Please get healthy, because injuries have been a huge part of your career. Take the time, take the money, take the rest, and sit this one out. I mean, props to Burrow for wanting to go back in. I appreciate the grit and everything, but this isn't the team to do it for right now. You have no defense.
Yeah, no defense whatsoever. And I think that since they have not technically been eliminated yet, I think the only team that's been eliminated are the Giants. So I would imagine that if Joe Burrow comes back and plays, he will probably continue to play until they are eliminated. And then they're going to probably try to get him out and rest him and make sure he's ready to go for next year. Because, like you said, injuries have been piling up for Joe Burrow in his career. It's one of that's basically his only detractor is that he can't stay on the field. When he's out there, gold mine. And it really, he almost never misses. But he can't stay out there. And that sucks.
It'll be a terrible look if he goes back out and gets hurt again. For him, for everybody involved.
In a lost season as well, like it would be terrible.
Yeah.
But
one miss that he doesn't have, though, he's very, very, very handsome. Very handsome.
Very true.
Amber, please find pictures of his cock. That's going to be another segment in the show.
Football players' cocks.
Yeah, absolutely. Look for their off season for the ladies.
That'll go on the OnlyFans.
Yeah. All right. You said the other side of this game.
Yeah, on the other side of this game, Drake May played okay. Listen, he is still learning. He put up a ton of yards, but there were some things in this game that you want back from Drake May. I'm glad to see that the running game didn't really change too much. They gave Ramondre Stevenson some carries. I'm glad that they didn't keep giving him carries. Travion Henderson's a better back, more explosive back. Ramondre is a decent back. He's going to be a pretty good change of pace. We'll see what happens in terms of goal line carries going forward. That may be one area where Ramondre steals some carries, steals touchdowns in terms of like some fantasy type stuff. But I thought they played a decent game, but this was not their best performance by any means.
Yeah. Still a win. Obviously, it's boding very well for them, though, in the AFC.
10-2 now?
10-2.
Yeah, crazy.
Very good game. All right, next up, we have the Giants and the Lions, and this one was actually a pretty fucking fun game. Obviously alluded to with the Jameis Winston off-the-hook player award there. But the Giants were actually kind of beaten up on the Lions for quite a while. It looked like they almost had this one in the bag. But again, the Giants give up late points in overtime, and lose another nail-biter at the end, resulting in yet another firing there in New York. Shane Bowen out as defensive coordinator.
Yeah, I mean, they can fire anybody they want. They don't have enough talent on the field right now because they're all fucking hurt. What they're doing to that team doesn't, I don't know, unless they're just going to clean house anyways, which is entirely possible. But Jameis was fucking a treat to watch. And you look at the stat line, you're like, man, 366 yards, that's fucking sweet. And then you're like, he was 18 of 36. He only completed 50% of his fucking passes and threw for 366 yards. Doesn't make any goddamn sense. You never see something like that. But it's Jameis fucking Winston. He will just put the ball up anywhere. He does not give a fuck. That's why Mike Evans and him were so good for so long, because Mike would go up and get it. He was one of the best jump ball winners, and Jameis did not give a fuck who was guarding him. He was going to let that bitch eat. So this was a cool, fun game to watch. Insane stat line. Tyrone Tracy's still a pretty decent little back. When they get him and Cam Skattebo working together, that'll be a pretty decent little backfield, I think. This Giants team looks like a team that's going to be on the rise when they get healthy. It just depends on what coach they bring in. Because this is one of the more attractive jobs going forward. Because, I mean, everybody's going to probably be gone from that staff with the way things have gone so far. So this is a very attractive job if I am, one of the leading candidates out there. This is probably where I'd want to go most, unless it's, unless the Browns fire Stefanski, because our defense is tailor-made to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, look, this like you said, it's very attractive. You have a bunch of young offensive weapons. I think, and I've been banging this table for a while, I think that they have a lot of good defensive personnel. It's just been really mismanaged, misused. And so you're going to have high picks. You're going to be able to go out there and get some things done. I definitely think it's an attractive spot, other than the fact that it's the New York market, which kind of sucks and eats people alive. But look, overall, this game was gangbusters from like bulk stats perspective. Like you said, Jameis Winston, 366 yards, 2 touchdowns. He got another 33 yards in the air and a touchdown. And then he also ran for another 13 yards. Big bulk day from him. Wan'Dale Robinson showing up big time in this one, 156 yards on 9 catches and a touchdown. But you go over to the other side, Amon-Ra St. Brown, 149 yards on 9 receptions and a touchdown. Jahmyr Gibbs, 219 yards on the ground on 15 carries and 2 touchdowns. Another 45 through the air and a touchdown. Big time bulk stats from these offenses. Not a whole lot of defense in this one. Embarrassing for sure for the Lions to have the stuff that happened to him from Jameis, but at least they got the win. They can be happy about that. Fun game to watch for sure.
Oh yeah, man. This is one of those games that I was glued to. And it started out so crazy with the flea flicker. I was like, oh my God, this is going to be amazing. Jameis is going to go out there and just do crazy shit. And then the fucking back shoulder fade, it was unreal to watch. Unbelievable to watch from like just a quarterback standpoint. And when you look, another thing that I did kind of pops out to me. When you look at the receiving stats for New York, Long for Wan'Dale Robinson, 40. Theo Johnson, 39. Tyrone Tracy, 42. Isaiah Hodges, 30. Jameis Winston, 33. Darius Slayton, 23. All big-time explosive plays. So this game was a banger to watch.
Yep. What wasn't a banger to watch is our next game.
Yeah, I figured that you were not going to enjoy this.
Yeah, my Vikings versus the Packers. We ended up losing this one 23-6. The game was relatively close within hand, and then we started to fuck ourselves up again. We gave the ball back to Green Bay on a punt recovery issue. Ball got knocked into the returner after he decided to not catch it. And then it was one of the worst quarterback performances that we've seen in quite some time. I've seen everything out there on the internet, the Jamarcus Russells, the Zach Wilsons, the everything. And I mean, look, there's a fucking, we're going through it right now. I'm not going to do it. I can't smoke in the house. But we're going through it in Minnesota. Most people are calling for coaches' heads, for JJ McCarthy's head, for the GM, which I can get behind. That part of it, but it's a tough look right now. I just want to say I am not out on JJ. This is me. I'm here for you, JJ. 6 games in. A lot of film breakdowns are out there from guys like Kurt Warner and whatnot right now, saying as much that yes, JJ takes a lot of the blame for this game, but it wasn't all on him. You could see through the first half, it was a very, very conservative, neutered game script. A lot of what people have been asking for, run the ball more and JJ check it down to get easy completions. And he was doing that the first half of the game. He was not taking some of the strikes downfield that were there and available, but it feels like it's such a wishy-washy thing right now of we need to taper things back, and then that happens, and now now you're playing terrible, and then once you get that far behind, you have to start getting overly aggressive, and the mechanics go out the fucking window.
Yeah.
And then to top it all off,
on that one that sailed, that's exactly what happened. Was mechanics went to shit.
Yeah, 2 interceptions. One of them was a tipped ball in his hand as he was throwing it. But look, when you talk about 86 yards, 3 interceptions, 2 dropped interceptions, 10 checkdowns thrown, and 14 handoffs, you know I'm talking about Brock Purdy's stat line in the first half of last night's game. Not J.J. McCarthy's, but J.J. McCarthy's stat line was pretty damn similar to that. I just want to throw that out there. Other good quarterbacks can fuck up too. Except for that guy.
The guy he was playing, the guy that JJ was playing in this game wasn't exactly spectacular.
They didn't need to be. Yeah, who was spectacular was their running back, Emmanuel Wilson. Had himself a pretty damn good game.
Yeah.
It's a tough one. It's a very precarious spot for me to be in as a Vikings fan and such a big fan of JJ McCarthy and everything that he can do. I try to remind myself and other Vikings fans, this is 6 games in. He is the youngest quarterback in the NFL at 22 years old. He hasn't played a ton of quarterback through his collegiate and professional career. A lot of people like to say he had all last year to sit, watch, and learn. And if that was the case, I would be on YouTube watching golf. So that way next year, I'd be a scratch golfer. You got to be able to put in the reps. You got to be good at it. All the reports coming from training camp and practice were that the mechanics looked pretty good. Everything looked pretty spectacular. And then he's getting in these games and he's breaking down. And you're hearing from a lot of former professional quarterbacks saying, yeah, that's going to happen. That's like, he's going to need an off season of practice, not being sidelined because he was still injured most of last off season up until training camp. He needs an off season of mechanical work and to get things where he's not thinking back there about the mechanics and he can just play ball.
I agree.
Or we could be looking at a really, really bad situation at quarterback because the available quarterbacks next year, as far as free agents, are next to nothing. The guys that you could trade for and maybe a Tua or a Kyler are unappetizing, or Mac Jones, I suppose, but you're putting yourself in a Kirk Cousins situation with that, and I don't love that. I think we need to ride with him through next year. And then if things really go bad, some heads are going to roll. But at least you're going into a draft in 2027 where there's good quarterbacks.
Yeah, Julian Sand will be in that one.
Yeah. So it's tough. And it just gets even tougher because we don't know if JJ's playing this week. He has a concussion. He's in the protocol. They haven't said whether or not they know if he's going to be able to play or not. Reports from around TCO Performance Center today were that he seemed chipper, happy, normal. Seemed like he wasn't concussed at all, but obviously independent neuroscientists and shit like that have to fucking clear him to play. And if he doesn't go, it's Max Brosmer time, baby.
Yeah. I know you're okay with that, though. You've been excited to see Max.
Look, if I had my druthers, JJ would play out the rest of this year, good or bad. He needs the reps. He needs the experience. We need to get that under his belt. That's not to say, though, that I don't think Max Brosmer has a little something to offer. I would like to see it. There are some reports saying that Max Brosmer has performed pretty damn well as through all the practices and everything, and that some people on the staff want to see him play. He's a couple years older than JJ McCarthy, yet was an undrafted rookie free agent this year. So he's got a little bit more years under his belt, more statistics in college and everything. And I think that he could go out there and throw a decent game. I think that he could be a long-term backup for us. Or I guess best case, I would be happy to see it, but I would also hate to see it for JJ. We could have a Brock Purdy type situation going on in the Trey Lance and all that. That would suck. It would be my worst take on a quarterback, I think, ever. But I still have faith in JJ. I think that these things can be cleaned up, and he's got this sort of mentality, unlike a Zach Wilson, where he's going to be able to grow and learn and get better from all of the rough patches that he's going through. So obviously, I hope the best.
Failures and
yeah, I know a lot of Vikings fans also like to compare what he's doing right now to Christian Ponder, one of our worst first round quarterback draft picks in recent memory, and how Ponder's stats were better. I sat through the Ponder years. I got to see it. I saw nothing spectacular. I saw a guy who was a backup level quarterback, reminiscent of a Dylan Gabriel to me, to be completely honest. Not a special arm, had the ability to run a little bit. He had about 1.5 feet on Dylan Gabriel. That was pretty cool. But he and Samantha Ponder. Nice. But either way, like, yeah, he had some better stats, but I never was wowed by anything. And there have been throws, including in this game versus Green Bay, where I was wowed by JJ McCarthy. There was an outside throw to the left to Justin Jefferson that was absolutely perfectly threaded.
Oh, yeah.
We saw that in the Detroit game to seal the game, the throw to Jalen Naylor. I've seen some of that. We saw it in the preseason. We saw it in training camp practices. We've seen it in some games where he has the it factor, that ability to do some special shit. And he's not put it together yet. So I am taking a lot of heat for it online. I'm willing to stay with him. I'm not unaware of how bad things have been. But I also don't think that you should just cast aside someone who this coaching staff, this organization, and all the players on these teams were getting behind and thinking this is the guy. You can't have that many people within the organization see potential in him and for it just to be a complete and utter flop. That would be counterintuitive to everything that this organization has built over the past 3-4 years. So I'm not out on JJ. Either way, real bad game for my Vikings here. Got worse because of some of our own internal errors and mistakes, and then obviously some pretty poor play at quarterback.
Yeah, it happens, man. It hasn't happened to you guys in quite some time, but it absolutely does happen. Your little analogy about the golf thing earlier reminded me of a story. And I've actually seen that scenario play out in real life. Well, when I was stationed in Alaska, we would go snowboarding. I think that's where I learned how to go snowboarding. We had a buddy who decided he wanted to come snowboarding as well. And instead of renting stuff and seeing if he liked snowboarding, he decided to spend $1,200 on snowboarding gear. And then his reasoning was that I don't think it's going to be that hard. I read a bunch of books and watched videos on it. And then he spent all day on his ass on the mountain, and I'm not sure he ever went snowboarding again. So,
yeah.
Shout out my guy Baker, by the way.
The other analogy I like to use is that, JJ McCarthy played in Michigan, and essentially he was riding a tricycle. It was a offense that was based on the run with a really good defense, and not a lot was expected from him as a passer. Now he gets to the NFL, and instead of learning how to ride a bike with training wheels or anything for the first year, again, you get to watch other kids riding around on their bike. You get to watch one do it pretty exceptionally in Sam Darnold. And now you're expected to go out there and be fucking Travis Pastrana or some shit. Matt Hoffman going out there in your first year. I had hopes that he would do that, and I will eat crow for that. Absolutely. Call it when we get it wrong. And I got it wrong on how good he would be this year.
Yeah.
But I also don't think, in retrospect, especially, that we should have expected him to go out there without falling over a few times. You don't watch your kid ride their bike for the first time without training wheels, watch him fall over and be like, well, fucking get rid of this kid. Never let him near a bike again. You got to give him some time.
Absolutely. No, I get it. For sure, man. It makes a lot of sense. And I understand not being out on a guy. I was really big on Baker. Even when Baker was having his fucking downslides here in Cleveland, I was like, man, I'm telling you, this guy can play. He can fucking play. And then eventually he showed out for a little while, then got the injury and everything else happened. But I understand being on that side of it, trying to defend your guy, because I'm going to be defending my guy Shadur now against people who are like, it was the fucking Raiders and who cares and all that other stuff, because there's a lot of that narrative out there as well. But are you ready to move on to the next game, my man?
Yeah, absolutely. We have the Seahawks and the Titans. This one upsets you a little bit there. Seahawks do get the win, 30-24, but a lot of garbage time points here in the second half from this Titans team that actually got the game a lot closer than it should have been. Ended up ruining your dropping of the 12.5 points there for Seattle. But another win for the Seahawks. And overall, a pretty solid day from that team.
Yeah, listen, the Seahawks are a good team. They ran into an absolute buzzsaw in the Rams, but this team is very talented. They had 12.5 covered, but you know what? Late covers happen all the time. Cam Ward played one of his better games as a pro in this game. So that will also help bring that fucking spread a little closer together. I still think that team is a long ways away. They need to help Cam a lot, get him some bigger, better, more explosive talent. Especially on the edges, but this was a decent game from him. So I think Titans fans are starting to see some of those things that, all right, finally, man, okay, maybe this guy can play a little bit. Maybe he can put some of this stuff together because this was not a bad game for him at all.
Yeah. Yeah, it's growth. It'll be interesting to see what happens there going forward as far as the coaching and who they bring in there to kind of help mentor him and grow him. And obviously they got a lot of work to do there with Mike Borgonzi filling out that roster, but they're going to have a pretty good draft pick in order to assist in those efforts. Seattle, though, decent day for Sam Darnold, 244 and 2 touchdowns, but JSN again shows why he is the best performing wide receiver in the league this year. And probably I would struggle to argue that he's not a top 5 guy the way that he's performing this year. He is absolutely lights out spectacular. And what do you fucking know? If you give the ball to Kenneth Walker more than you give to fucking Zach Charbonnet, you start to see some good dividends from the run game. 11 carries for 71 yards, 6.5 average from Kenneth Walker there, and a measly 6 for 35 from Zach Charbonnet. Listen, still a good day.
That's a good day for Charbonnet. So Kenneth needs to have somewhere between 12 and 15 carries a game, and Charbonnet, you're looking between 6 and 10. Charbonnet is going to be out on the field more for pass blocking situations, so he's going to catch the ball more. So give the fucking rock, hand off the rock more to Kenneth Walker, and stop using Charbonnet so much in those scenarios, unless you're just going to make him the fucking lead back, because you're wasting Kenneth Walker if you're not giving him somewhere between 12 and 15 fucking carries.
Yeah, and as a Kenneth Walker owner in fantasy, again, frustrating as hell to watch him drive down the field, have some great runs, get him into the red zone, and then get pulled out just to give Charbonnet a touchdown. That feels like fantasy football malpractice, if you ask me. Next up, Colts and the Chiefs, a big game for the playoff picture for both of these teams. Colts looked like they possibly had it in hand there, but they end up losing in the end, 23-20 to these Chiefs. The playoff hopes are not over for Kansas City at this point. But it's still outside looking in.
Yeah, this obviously helps. I think that the Chiefs got handed a gift. I don't know that they earned this thing. The Colts gotten so conservative with their lead that they were playing not to lose. They weren't playing to win. And that is really what allowed Kansas City to climb back in this fucking thing and then win it in overtime. Like, it felt like there were a couple times where the Colts could have really put the hammer down and they just couldn't do it, didn't do it. They tried to lean on their running game. It was not a great day. They needed to give Daniel Jones the opportunity to make more plays because the running game was being stuffed. Like, I watched the ESPN Morning Countdown. I don't normally watch ESPN Morning Countdown, but I decided to watch it this Sunday. And I think it was Rex Ryan talking about that Kansas City is probably going to run blitz the fuck out of the Colts because that's the thing that they have to stop. You probably won't see too many blitz packages coming on known passing downs, but they're gonna run blitz so they can try to slow down Jonathan Taylor, and that's what happened. If they would have given Daniel Jones a couple more opportunities in those higher leverage spots, those 3rd and 4th down spots where they hand it off to Jonathan Taylor who gets stuffed, they probably win this game. I think they probably pick up 1 or 2 yards instead of getting stuffed in the backfield for nothing. So I think is one of the main things that I got out of this game on why the Chiefs won. They played a better game. Pat Mahomes put up a bunch of stats. Not hardly any touchdown. I mean, no touchdowns from him. Kareem Hunt had a decent day. But I'm not convinced that the Chiefs are way better. I think this was a bad decision by the Colts on their offensive game script. They should have been more aggressive.
Yeah. Look, shout out to that Chiefs defense, holding Jonathan Taylor to as many yards as he got, really shutting him down for the day. It did really neuter that Colts offense, and they weren't able to pivot and put a little bit more on Daniel Jones' shoulders. Definitely hurt them there. Kansas City still outside looking in on the playoff picture. Currently, they are tied with two other teams, the Texans and Steelers, at 6-5, not in a wild card slot yet. They are still one of those teams that is dangerous. You get them in the playoffs, and anything can happen with this Chiefs team. So a lot of teams are going to be looking to continue holding them back at bay. We'll see if that continues going forward. Next up, New York Jets and Baltimore Ravens. This one, relatively boring game for me, to be completely honest. Ravens win 23-10. Derrick Henry had himself a decent day, couple touchdowns and 64 yards. Tyrod Taylor, 17 of 28, 222 yards and a touchdown. It's amazing what happens when you put a non-run first quarterback back there. You get a little more passing yards.
Yeah, that did help. I mean, they 220 yards, not a bad day from Tyrod. I was really hoping that Breece Hall would get a little bit more going on the ground against this Ravens team. That did not happen, but was involved fantasy-wise in the passing game, which was huge for me. Still lost. Didn't fucking matter. And listen, the Ravens are right there. I believe now tied with the Steelers for the division. They may even be getting ready to – they are in the division lead now, it looks like. So it's over. That's it. The Ravens have caught them, and it's over. They are winning the division. So suck it, Steelers fans.
Well, speaking about the AFC North Division, our next game here, Cleveland Browns versus the Las Vegas Raiders. Raiders dropped to 2-9 in this one after your Browns get a 24-10 win. Chip Kelly out as the offensive coordinator for Vegas. But that's not the story you want to talk about here. So I will let you have the floor and give us your assessment of Myles Garrett and his hammer.
Myles Garrett has a giant cock.
No pause necessary.
Nope.
But he is on pace for breaking the single season sack record. Absolutely. So need to be on watch for that. He's not that far. What is it, 18 sacks now?
Yeah.
I believe. And 22 and a half to beat the record.
Tie the record,
absolutely
22 and a half.
Yeah,
so 23. So he needs 5 more in the next 6 games. I think Myles Garrett's going to fucking shatter the single season sack record. I'm so excited that we re-signed him, that we decided not to, shop him, because there was that conversation. But over the next few weeks, 49ers, that's going to be tough. Myles might actually be shut down in that game. With the way they run their offense, the motion at the snap, boots away, I think that they're probably going to be able to find ways to try to neutralize Myles Garrett this week. So that's going to be tough. But after that, you got the Titans, the Bears, the Bills, the Steelers, the Bengals. He's going to shatter the NFL sack record. He's on pace right now, I think, for like 24, 25. I think it's going to be more than that. I mean, it's insane. I think
30 is not out of the question.
I don't think it's out of the question either at the rate that he's going with our remaining schedule and how bad their offensive lines are. It is insane, the numbers that he is putting up, and he has done it against some really good fucking teams. So I think the world of him. But
nothing else to talk about in this game. We can move on to the Jaguars and Cardinals.
He was also impressed by somebody else in Shedeur Sanders. That fucking throw to Isaiah Bond is a big-time throw. Not everybody in the league can make that throw. And anybody that was saying that Shedeur didn't have the arm talent or didn't have the arm to do that is an idiot. What happens typically is he throws the ball early, so he doesn't have to put a ton of zip on it. But he let that motherfucker eat. And it was a beautiful ball. Listen, he went 11 of 20, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. There are things that he needs to clean up. That pick was bad. Completely just missed the DN dropping out. Threw it right fucking to him. That's a bad play. That's a bad miss. But outside of that, man, he was really fucking efficient. He threw balls away. There were some guys that some throws you want back. I think there's a comeback to Jerry Jeudy that you'd love to see him hit when he rolls out.
You'd like to see Jerry Jeudy hold on to the ball after a nice catch.
Yeah, it'd be great if he could, not jump up and be like, hey, come get the ball. Like, I don't what the fuck he was doing. It didn't hurt in the end, but I thought Shedeur played a pretty damn good game. Now, I'm going to ask you a question before I talk a little bit more. Do you place any value in QBR?
It is part of the puzzle, but not completely by any means. You see some really wonky things happen with QBR.
Yeah. Do you think Shedeur played a better game, or do you think that JJ McCarthy played a better game?
Shedeur. I think it's unequivocal that he played a better game.
Shedeur had a QBR of 8.7, and let me go ahead and pull yours back up. JJ had a QBR of 17.9. So I don't know what the QBR is anymore at this point, because I used to think this stat made a little bit more sense than the passer rating, because passer rating is that feels like a huge inflated number. They're saying that young man only had a quarterback rating, which means like 50% is the league average, and he only had an 8.7. I don't know what they're rating. I really don't get it. He was efficient with basically everything he did. He made big time throws. He won the game. And here's the thing. You know why his stats aren't better? They took him off the fucking field to score 2 touchdowns, which, by the way, I don't necessarily hate. Fuck putting your quarterback in a spot where he's got a tush push or QB sneak. Bring out an extra fucking guy and just snap it to your badass running back, who can now run just right downhill with a head of fucking steam. And if he wants to, go up over the top from 1 yard away. That seems like a way better option. I love the Wildcat.
Give it to the hammer, Myles Garrett.
That's we got to stop with the dick things with Myles Garrett now. This is starting to get.
I'm talking just about his muscular stature.
Oh, okay, got it. I thought you were
his impressive hog or nothing.
Not his impressive hog, but man, listen, Quinshon was not efficient, but didn't have to be. Our defense was insane. 10 sacks. This defense is tailor-made to go out and compete in the playoffs and possibly win a Super Bowl. We are fucking loaded. That defensive line, I'm going to say it, and I'll probably catch shit for it. I don't care. I would be willing to put it up. I would check number to number. We have the best defensive line in the entire NFL. We are better than the Eagles up front. We can rotate more guys than the Eagles can up front. There is not a defensive line in football that can match what the Browns are doing. And it's because we have young, athletic defensive tackles, and all-world fucking D-end, and a guy on the other side that knows his goddamn job, does his role, and everybody is playing their part. This defense is so good. If Shedeur can get better, continue to grow, this team won't need to go out and find another quarterback. We can address offensive line, and we can address wide receiver. And then this team can compete in short fucking order, because that defense is tailor-made, man. They were so good. Gino had an awful, awful day. Like, getting dumped 10 times is terrible. And I believe that's the second time this season the Browns have had a double-digit sack game. I'm so impressed with the way that team responded and the way they rallied. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the comments that were made by Shedeur after the game, because I don't have a problem with it. When you look at the entire context of what the interview was, I thought he was, very loquacious at the beginning of it. Spoke very clearly, and was very appreciative and supportive of his teammates. And then obviously he has the moment at the end where he's feeling himself a little bit and like, man, imagine what it would be like if I had so much more time. Just give me more shots and I'm going to make this shit work. And honestly, I kind of don't have a problem with that either. Because if that is a shot at Kevin Stefanski, cool. Because I'm out on Kevin Stefanski. Don't give a fuck if that's a shot at the head coach. But like, I also like the swagger. I loved that about Baker. I loved Baker's chip on his shoulder, fucking going in there and starting shit. I love it now in Tampa still. I love watching that guy do that shit. And I said before, and I'll say it again, Shadur Sanders is the black Baker Mayfield. I like the white Baker Mayfield. I like the black Baker Mayfield. And I'm fucking pumped to watch Shadur continue to grow as a quarterback and be the guy that we have all been fucking looking for. So I do not have a problem with the swagger, the bravado a little bit, especially when it's led with nothing but praise for your teammates and in God. And God is obviously a huge part of his life if you listen to that entire interview. So I'm okay with how that goes down when you listen to the entire context.
To me, not having much of a dog in the hunt, my main thought with it is it can go either way depending on whatever narrative you want to spin. It depends on how much credit you want to give to the exactitudes of his words on certain things, whether or not it was very intentional to go after Stefanski, if it can just be taken that way. Whatever narrative you want to spin with it, I believe you can. And there's been a lot of negative vitriol around him that I generally just want to abstain from, because why feed into it? Either he's going to be good and cocky, or he's going to be bad and cocky. And if he's good and cocky, no one's going to give a shit. That worked for Aaron Rodgers and the Packers fan base for quite a while. They were all behind it until it bit them in the ass. That's the big thing, is don't let it ever become something that's going to bite you in the ass and make you look bad. My only two questions are, obviously this was a very good game. How much weight do you put on the fact that you played the Raiders?
Some.
And I think that's fair.
Like, I understand we beat one of the worst teams in football, and we have one of the best defenses in football. So I get that this should have been a win. I said as much on our show when we made the pick. I was like, I cannot believe that they are fucking favorited. Our defense is going to smash them. And that's exactly what happened. Like, so I do take this with a grain of salt, because we were playing a terrible fucking Raiders team.
All right. And then second question. You got white Baker Mayfield, black Baker Mayfield. Who's the Asian Baker Mayfield? Is it Shohei Ohtani?
I don't know. Oh, no, Stephen Kwan. Got it. That's my guy.
Right. Look, if y'all have a thought on who the Asian, Mexican, or Jewish Baker Mayfield is, you get on our social media and comment and let us know what nationality, race, creed, religion Baker Mayfield is out there. We would love to hear about it. And look, we are Raw Dog Sports. We keep it raw. We keep it real. We like to have some fun. We've been talking a lot about Myles Garrett Dick this episode, and it's okay. This is a safe space to talk about football and cock. And if you love that sort of content, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Let your friends know that we're fucking out there. We're wild, and we have that Rawthenticity that you love to come and watch every week, Mike and I. But we'll go ahead, move on to our next game.
Right,
enough self-suck there. And we're on to the Jaguars and Cardinals. This game went to overtime. Jaguars were able to get the win. That field goal in overtime fucked me on my pick, but it still was a pretty good week, so I'm not going to cry about it. Jags get another win here. You called that one, Mike. Jacoby Brissett, another high-volume passing day. I think it just kind of goes to show, again, that Kyler probably, if he wasn't able to put up these sorts of stats, then maybe he's a little bit more the problem.
I think that it is exactly what it was being shown now at this point, is that Kyler is definitely more of the problem. Jacoby is putting up a shitload of yards. Now, that team has other issues, obviously, with that 3-8 record, but Jacoby is playing better quarterback. What is surprising to me is that the Jags were able to come away with the win, because Trevor Lawrence is the white Jameis Winston. You have no idea what the fuck you're going to get from week to week with Trevor Lawrence. These comparisons, baby.
3 tutties, 3 interceptions, and 256 yards. it was a wild up and down day for him, for sure. I think this more so comes down to they got a good receiving tight end back in Brenton Strange. He was obviously very pivotal for them, 5 catches and 93 yards. And then Etienne puts together a second good rushing game in a row. This Cardinals team, their defense has some teeth to them. They've got some offensive pieces that obviously, if you put a quarterback back there that can throw the ball a little bit, you can put up some numbers. They have no run game right now. James Conner going down, Trey Benson going down. They have no run game. And that's going to be a huge point of emphasis for them going into next year, is solidifying a run game, getting a better long-term back there, because as much as I like James Conner and the style of football that he plays, he has injury issues, happens every year, and he is not getting any younger. You start to put in a run game to complement the pass game here, and all of a sudden that offense looks a lot better. And I do think that the calls for Drew Petzing's job out there as the OC are valid to an extent, because if we saw MVP type seasons from Kyler in the past, and maybe Call of Duty didn't affect him as much, but it's still Kyler Murray, and you're not getting a lot out of him. It might be a system thing there, passing wise, with Kyler, where if you do want to keep him, if you do want to go forward with him, you have to change up your offensive scheme. I don't think that works. We were very critical of him and his use of Marvin Harrison Jr., and there's something to that, except for when you put Jacoby Brissett out there, all of a sudden you start having guys like Michael Wilson, Marvin Harrison Jr. starting to look like pretty damn good receivers. That's 2 weeks in a row. Michael Wilson has looked like he has the ability to be a number one style receiver. A George Pickens to the CeeDee Lamb there. So there's some semblance of hope there, but you got to figure that passing game out, and I think it starts with that OC job.
All right. Man, it would be, it's really hard to make the comparison of old Kyler, new Kyler, because of the injury and the time missed. So I understand the call for the OC's job, because you bring up a good point. Kyler put up a shitload of yards before, but there's a lot of other things that happened in between there as it relates to Kyler as well. He has missed a shitload of time and injuries. So that also,
one of the things that made Kyler so good was his ability to be mobile, to scramble, to be so tiny in the pocket and get lost, because he was mobile and he was a little kid that just stole some candy and was fucking running away from you. And then he could fling the fucking ball pretty decent, right? That's not who he is anymore. Petzing runs an offense that is obviously a little bit better suited for more of a traditional pocket passer. Yeah. So either you move your offense back to something that Kyler can do a little bit more, because I think despite the injuries, he still has the ability to scramble around like that, but that offense isn't predicated on that. This offense is predicated on a pocket passer. And if your pocket passer can't see over the kitchen counter, then you need to move on to a different quarterback or move on to a different offensive coordinator that will suit your system.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me now that we've talked that out, because it's not necessarily his fault, but the system that he runs is not going to work with Kyler. So if Kyler goes, then maybe he doesn't go.
Maybe we'll see if Gannon is able to retain his job there another year, because obviously, as much as I disliked Gannon as a hire, he's done good things with that defense. They've gotten better, and they do have some solid options there. Like the GM has done a good job. Monty Austinfort has brought in some talented pieces there for sure. There's just a disconnect on the offensive side. You have multiple avenues of approach to fix that. It'll be interesting to see how they approach it in this offseason. Next up, Eagles, Cowboys. Big win for Dallas in this one. Eagles put up 21 points in the first half, and then roaring back comes that Cowboys offense. Dak Prescott, George Pickens having himself a fucking day. A good offensive comeback game there for the Cowboys. Love to see how this team has responded since the Marshawn Kneeling tragedy. And again, those defensive additions, while they aren't like game breaking for them, the trades and stuff that they have made to reinforce that defense have helped some. They have gotten better.
They've gotten a lot better. I mean, they shut the Eagles out in the second half. That's what gets them this win. George Pickens is insane. Him working with another guy opposite him so he can get some one-on-one coverage with a quarterback who can distribute him the ball. That guy's fucking awesome. George Pickens.
That's the biggest thing. Is the quarterback play. There had not been any semblance of quarterback play up in Pittsburgh.
Nope.
But you see when George Pickens out there solo without CeeDee Lamb, he's still putting up really good numbers.
Yeah.
Now
with them, it's
taking another step.
They're so good. So if that defense can continue to get better, Dallas at 5-5 is not out of the playoff picture at this point, because that defense has actually made some strides, is making some strides. The things that they were able to do. Listen, I'm a huge fan of Myles Garrett, and you would love to have two defensive ends that wreak havoc, right? We're kind of showing, the Eagles have shown, a lot of different teams, interior pressure coupled with an explosive edge guy is way more efficient than two really good edge guys. So this can kind of work if they can generate a little bit of edge pressure with the interior push that they're going to generate, because Quentin Williams is a fucking dog in the interior. Like, they have guys in the interior that can generate inside pressure. So if they can manufacture anything from the outside, this defense gets better because they'll get home. So I don't know. I thought the Cowboys were going to be a bad team, especially after they traded Micah Parsons. But the moves that Jerry made have put them in a position where their season's not over. It looked bleak early on for sure.
Yeah, it definitely did. We're always going to be critical of certain things, especially in the moment when we have to look back. Hindsight's always going to be 2020. Moving off of Micah, I still think that probably retaining him and giving him his money was the right move. And they don't have enough ammunition to go out and make all the other moves that they've made to kind of bolster that interior defensive line. But there's still some options if they think that they can get something done. Who knows how it would have turned out if they had kept Micah. But they have gotten a lot better there. That being said, while their playoff hopes aren't completely over, it is still absolutely an uphill battle. I think that they almost have to win out in order to make it to the playoffs at this point, or have a lot of help. Looking at ESPN's playoff picture odds right now, Dallas 9% chance to make it to the playoffs, so not out yet. And obviously, to win the division, very rough, 2%. So it's a tough one there. They're 5-5-1. They don't have the easiest schedule going forward. There's definitely some wins that I think are almost baked in there. But we're looking at the Chiefs this coming week, Lions, Vikings, probably a win there. Chargers, Commanders, probably a win, and the Giants, who are scrappy. I think that they almost need to win out to get to 10-5-1 to make it to the playoffs at this point. If they don't hit double-digit wins,
it'll be 11-5-1 if they win out, right?
Yes. Games? Correct. Yeah, my bad. But I think you have to get the double-digit in order to have a chance. And even that could be pretty difficult unless you get some help from other teams who are kind of outside looking in right now, or just on the fringes of making it to the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, right now the fucking Lions are on the outside looking in at 7-4. So it is going to be tough. But they are, with that win against the Eagles, if they lose this game, their season's done. Their playoff chances are completely ruined. Yeah. With that win, though, they are still in it. So I will give them credit on that.
Yep. All right. Next up, Atlanta Falcons go into New Orleans versus the Saints. This is the computer-saving game for me. Kirk O'Chains goes out there, gets the W for the Falcons, 24-10. He has a Kirk Cousins day, 199 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 3 nice sacks on the day. Bijan involved, not as much as I would like to see. Got over 100 total yards. That's good. No touchdowns.
Yeah.
Making me question my fantasy football trade a little bit. I know he's got it in him. Either way, Falcons, they didn't necessarily impress me this week. This is the Saints that they were going up against. Talked about it, divisional matchup. Those are usually closer, but this is a Saints team that is actively, passively, actively, and passively, and actively trying to tank for the top pick.
Yeah.
Can't really tell exactly what they're doing. Which, speaking of tanking, have you seen some of the news today about things being bandied about as far as a anti-tanking rule in the NFL?
I have not. No, that would be very interesting.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how it would work.
Fucking enforce an anti-tanking rule.
A minimum win total in order to retain your first round pick.
What if your team just sucks dick?
If you're the Lions, you're just fucked.
The fucking Titans, you got to win 3 games. They're like, Jesus fucking Christ. That's our last 3 years total of wins.
Yeah, I there's obviously got to be some severe intricacies to it, but I like the idea of anti-tanking. Like, it brings a competitive brand of football week in and week out. You have guys who are obviously playing for a lot more at that point, and organizations who aren't going to go to their head coaches down in Miami with Brian Flores and be like, yeah, fucking lose because we want a better pick. That's not competitive. It's not fun. We know it happens. So it would be really interesting to see how that could be implemented. I do think that it would be very difficult to be like, yeah, you lose your first round pick, but I think they could start to look at other things, like other picks outside of the first round. Or if we aren't seeing some sort of a rebound quick enough the following year, you could lose a pick or something like that. I don't know the exact intricacies. I know that it was apparently brought up that a lot of league execs were asked about it and were in favor of it. So I think it's something that's probably going to be looked at possibly at owners' meetings. Whether or not it'll actually get any legs, I don't know, but it's an interesting concept.
I would be interested to understand how they could make that enforceable, understand how they could do that, because it does suck when teams tank. And I think you are right. They are actively tanking in the Saints, because when you look at the way the fuck this game went, Chuck is apparently just everything to the Saints. He threw it 43 times and he ran it fucking 7. That is 50 times that Tyler Shuck was in charge of the ball.
It's the white Jacoby Brissett.
They're tanking. You're not going to put this kid out there and have him throw it 43 times. Now, granted, Alvin Kamara does go out in this game with a sprained MCL. So they had to change their game plan a little bit, right? But Jesus Christ, what are they thinking? Like, 43 times to put him in that position is a terrible job by the coach.
Yeah. Look, it's a bad roster. It's a bad team, and they are probably actively tanking. It's tough to question a lot of the decisions if that is your end goal, really, from the coaching staff. I mean, you knew what he was walking into when he took that job. Bad cap situation, a rough roster, an aging roster. It's going to be an uphill battle for the Saints for at least a little while.
Yeah, for at least another probably year or two. Their drafts are going to have to be bangers, but they will get out of I think cap hell in 2 years.
Yeah, it's pretty short order.
Yeah, they've been there for fucking 3 years now. Was the Derek Carr, and then there was another fucking contract that they just buried themselves under as well. I don't remember what it was.
Look, Mickey Loomis is a wizard when it comes to the IOUs that are void years. Like, he's a master at that shit, and it has put them in a little bit of a hole. But like, we've seen some competitive times from them, even when they've been in this hole. So it's not impossible, but it's probably a good idea for them right now to kind of cleanse the palate, start to work off some of these contracts, let some of your aging guys go. I wish, honestly, that they would have tried to move more guys at the trade deadline, some of those aging defensive players, get them to teams that could use them, allow them to possibly have some success towards the end of their career, and really start to load up on those draft picks.
Yeah, they'll need to do something. But all right, brother, you ready for the next one? Because this next game is going to be very quick, I feel like, because it did not go at all the way I expected it to go, and there was not much to talk about.
Yeah, Buccaneers and Rams. Rams get the win, 34-7. Rams, again, they look like a juggernaut right now. Chris Collinsworth cannot get over Matt Stafford's rock-hard, chiseled body, apparently. And that's the sort of stuff that commentators have to talk about when a game gets out of hand like this. It was a bad one. Obviously, if you watch the game, you know what happened at the quarterback situation. Baker Mayfield goes down, AC joint sprain, apparently not too serious, but Teddy Bridgewater ends up having to go in there. Teddy Bridgewater is a mentor backup quarterback at this point, and that's really what we saw in this game. Not suited to be out there leading the charge, especially not against quite possibly the best team in the NFC, if not the NFL. They have to be up there with the Colts and the Seahawks. right now. They look unstoppable. Stafford truly is putting up an MVP season. Devontae Adams looks like vintage Devontae Adams. Puka Nacua is fucking phenomenal. Kyron Williams, fantastic. That defense and their cornerbacks playing outstanding ball. All around, really good game from this Rams team. They are going to be a very tough matchup going forward and into the playoffs.
Yeah, I was kind of middling on this Rams team at the beginning of the year. Like I thought they'd be okay, but I did not see this coming. Stafford is playing like he could play for another 2-3 years. He can keep going. We were worried that Stafford was going to be done. The injuries, the neck, everything that was piling up. I mean, and then the fucking everything with his life, because his life got crazy for a while too, because his wife had cancer. And I mean, so him coming back, looking healthy as fuck, just chisel the shit. I get it. We talk about men on this show as well. So Myles Garrett. But he's playing unbelievable. This is probably the best football he's ever played in his career. And he's got two dudes on the edges that are just fucking dogs. Puka is a dog. Devontae, dog. Like, they're just, yeah, this team is the best team in football. And right now, I don't know anybody else that I would expect to beat them in the Super Bowl. Right now, it looks like they are going and winning the motherfucker. Because is there a team that you think really matches up right now? That we thought Seattle, maybe. I mean, it was a decent game. The Eagles, but that's all going to be knocked off in the NFC Championship. I think they get all the way. The Chiefs aren't scary. The Colts and Rams would be a fucking hell of a Super Bowl.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. Look, you brought up we were a little unsure of them. I believe I had the Rams making the playoffs this year in our record predictions, but there was a big question mark going into the year. You have Matthew Stafford, who is old, and he's going in with a back problem where they're like, is Stetson Bennett going to have to be playing out here? Is he going to have to put the booze down and start playing football after doing the whole Van Wilder act at Georgia?
Yeah.
Obviously didn't have to. And look, tinfoil hat. It's LA, baby. They know how to get adrenochrome out there. That's what's keeping them young. It saved Kelly Stafford. Adrenochrome. Sucking out the juices of young children to stay useful.
Say every word possible that will get us shadow banned.
Absolutely. It's Raw Dog Sports, baby. We keep it raw.
Oh, man. Adrenochrome. That's funny.
Pulled that one from the annals of the Joe Rogan experience. You're turning the fucking frogs gay. Alex Jones Hour on Raw Dog Sports.
Listen, I'm going to just be honest. I'm kind of retarded. So
that's the one that's going to do it.
Yeah, that's probably going to be the one that does it.
Yep. All right. So we have our last game of week 12, our Monday night game that happened just last night. Panthers, 49ers. 49ers end up getting the win here, despite the super awesome stat line from Brock Purdy in the first half. I did read that out to you guys earlier, trying to catch you to maybe think maybe it's JJ McCarthy. But no, JJ McCarthy, the stat for him is just that he has the most dropped passes of anyone in the league this year. 14.7% of JJ McCarthy's passes are dropped, so that is not helping him. I'll get off my podium there. Go back to Brock Purdy. At halftime was 86 yards, 3 interceptions, 2 interceptions that should have been picked but were dropped, 10 check down throws, and 14 handoffs. Not a great stat line, but turned it around a little bit there in the second half, did what was needed to be done. Good day from Christian McCaffrey and this Panthers team. Despite seeing some decent stuff again from Tet McMillan and even Xavier Legette out there, some Rico Dowdle in the second half, they're still the Carolina Panthers. They're going to be very up and down until they start to get a little more stability with that team. And a lot of question marks continuing about what's going to be going on at quarterback there, because Bryce Young 1 week throws for 18 catches, 169 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions. And then another week, he goes out there and throws for, what was it, fucking 300, 400 yards, 448 passing yards. Has a huge game. Like, you don't know what you're getting out of them. So it's tough to have consistency there at the most important position.
Yeah. Now, there is something to be said about the time of possession of this game and the fact that he didn't put up more. Because like watching this game, I was like, Jesus fucking Christ, the 49ers have the ball again. It felt like they had the ball the entire fucking game. I had to go back. I'm looking at it now. Time of possession, 22 minutes and 18 seconds for the Panthers. 37 minutes and 42 seconds for the fucking 49ers. That is insane disparity in time of possession. The Panthers had no shot. They just ran a methodical offense and just chunked little by little down the field until Brock Purdy eventually turned it over. And then they would fucking turn the Panthers over and then do the same goddamn thing and take so much time off the clock. It was insane. It was boring as shit to watch. I didn't finish the whole goddamn thing.
Don't get me wrong here. I bring up those Brock Purdy stats and how bad they were in the first half, but good quarterbacks have bad days like that where they go out there and throw a lot. Tom Brady's done it despite all the adrenochrome. Peyton Manning has done it despite, having the biggest forehead and being mega mind. Like, he has the record for most interceptions by a rookie. The good quarterbacks will go out there and do that, JJ. But imagine if he hadn't thrown those interceptions, this game would have been way out of hand, probably. You're looking at least probably 3 field goals from that situation, so another 9 points. But more than likely with this offense, they're putting up at least a touchdown and a couple field goals. This game probably was a lot further away for the Panthers than it actually looks.
Yeah, they were never really in this thing at any point. So 49ers kind of just do what they do. They're boring. Producer Amber hates watching the fucking 49ers. She's like, I can't stand them. They're boring. They won. That's kind of what I expected.
Yeah. Interesting tidbit about that 49ers team. Have you seen the power facility that is next to their practice fields?
No.
All right. Something to kind of look into if you want to whip out that tinfoil hat a little bit more. A lot of players on this team get hurt all the fucking time. There is RF radiation that comes off of things that have a lot of power, and it's literally like a chain link fence separating the practice fields from these giant power converters or whatever the fuck they're called. I'm not a fucking scientist. Just saying, maybe they should move their facility and see if that bodes any better, or at least the practice fields, because they do have a huge injury bug there in San Francisco.
I wonder, and this is going to sound very weird, but not weird to you. Everybody who's watching will think this is weird until I fucking explain it. I wonder
how big Miles Garrett's wiener is. Oh.
No, I wonder if they're having the babies that are having out there who are on that team, the guys that are having babies, if they're having fucking girls. That's what happens when you're around RF energy all the time. The UAS curse, we called it, because everybody in UAS basically had fucking girls.
It did feel like a 3-to-1 ratio.
Yeah, like it scrambles your boys. So,
yeah. But hey, that's week 12. Not a bad betting week for us, but we got to get going on another week, week 13. We have Thursday games, but it's not just Thursday games, it's Thanksgiving games. So, you ready to get into these, Mike?
Hell yeah, brother. I'm ready. I just got it up.
All right. So, we are going off of FanDuel's current odds. It is Tuesday the 25th, of November.
4 games.
4 games.
We have Black Friday game again this year.
Oh, yeah. Friday. We got to go for Friday as well.
So we got 4 games.
Sheesh. All right. Well, we'll get off with our first one, NFC North matchup between 2 teams that aren't necessarily at the top there, but they are still competitive. Green Bay Packers and Detroit Lions. Detroit Lions are at home. They are the favorites, minus 2.5 points. So they are essentially giving Detroit that home field advantage. Over under a 49.5. Mike, where are you going at in this game?
I'm actually going to drop the points for the Lions here, man. I think that they've been kind of up and down, middling a little bit. They are going. This is that rivalry that's been kind of brewing for the last couple of years, going at the fucking Packers and keeping them out of the playoffs. And Dan Campbell biting the kneecap shit, and basically one last fuck you to Aaron Rodgers. So this rivalry is kind of starting to build, and I think that they're going to get on the right track. I don't think that this team is bad. I know there have been some changes that have come with it. Obviously Dan Campbell calling the plays. But I think they're a really, really good fucking team still, and I am just not sold on the Packers. The injury at the running back spot hurts. I would imagine that Josh Jacobs will probably play on Thursday. I mean, he was kind of a game time decision in the last game. So this one, you would expect that he will go. So that might change it. But man, I'm feeling this Lions team. Even though I know Thanksgiving Day historically is not a good day for the fucking Detroit Lions. Typically, they get the shit kicked out of them on Thanksgiving Day, even when they're good. I think they're going to buck that trend. I'm going Lions minus the 2.5.
And I'm going to go Lions on the money line with this one because it could be closer. But this is a big game for the Lions because they need this for the NFC North standings and because of what happened in week 1. That was embarrassing for the Lions. It's been a long time since week 1, 13 weeks. But they were embarrassed by that game. They got very exposed by this Packers team, and this Packers team is not as good as they were back in week 1. They don't have their full complement of weapons, i.e. Tucker Kraft, their main receiving option. They are a little bit dinged up. That defense didn't look spectacular last week. Yes, Micah Parsons makes a big deal for sure. Got to see that firsthand, and he's a game wrecker. However, I think they're going to scheme up stuff. We've still seen how this Detroit team can go out and put up over 30 points, and I don't completely trust that the Packers can keep pace with them. I don't think their offense is firing on all cylinders right now because of the lack of offensive weapons. Josh Jacobs playing or not doesn't even make a difference to me because he's been relatively ineffective. He scores some, but he's not getting big bulk yardage or anything like that. This Packers team does look like they are kind of built for an outdoor black and blue type of NFC North, which isn't what they're going to be doing on Thanksgiving. They're going to be playing indoors at Ford Field. So give me the Lions on the money line.
Lions on the money line. I like it. It makes a lot of sense to me. Our next game, man, we got the Chiefs heading down to Dallas. Thanksgiving tradition. The Chiefs are favored in this minus 3.5, over under of 52.5. A lot of points expected. And I feel like the odds here, if you like the Cowboys, you can get them at plus 152. I think there's a legit chance they could win this fucking game. If that offense keeps going and they figure out something on defense, because listen, that Chiefs offense hasn't exactly been spectacular. So this is a nice stylistic matchup that leads me to believe that the Cowboys could win this fucking thing. But before I make my pick, I'm going to ask you where you're going, brother.
Yeah, I like Dallas in this game. I do think that they can and should win this game. If they're going to give me 3.5 points, I'll go ahead and take it. Minus 122 odds doesn't scare me off that much. The plus 152 for Dallas on the money line definitely is worth a play if you're trying to earn yourself a little bit extra. I'll go a little bit safer. I'll take the Cowboys here. But it's not that the Chiefs can't win, that they aren't good. Obviously, they got to win last week. But I still think that they are kind of this middling Chiefs team that is going to struggle to get into the playoffs, whereas Dallas has a lot to fight for as well. They are trying to fight for their former teammate, Marshawn Nealand. They are trying to fight for getting into the playoffs. They got a lot to play for. They're riding high off of their win last week, their comeback win versus the Eagles. And I think that the Eagles right now are about as good or maybe better than the Chiefs, at least with their consistency. So I'll take Dallas in this one. I think that this could be a high-scoring offensive game for Dallas.
I think it very well could be
plus the points.
Yeah, as well. So you're going Cowboys plus the points. I'm taking the same. I think they could win this thing, but I want to be a little bit more conservative. Been a little riskier the last couple of weeks. Still been over 500, but I've been a little riskier. This one, I would like a nice little layup on Thanksgiving, so I'm going to take the points with the Cowboys as well. Go ahead, brother. You got the next one.
Yeah, a nice little AFC matchup here. AFC North matchup here. Joe Burrow coming back. Expected to play in this one for the Cincinnati Bengals going into Baltimore versus the Ravens. The Ravens are favored minus 7 points because the Bengals still have no defense. It doesn't matter how many Joe Burrows you put out there. It doesn't make your defense any fucking better, and they are dog shit. You can get the minus 7 is minus 110 odds for Baltimore Ravens over under a 51.5. You do see a little bit of a bump up there. in the overall expected score because you are getting Burrow back. You are having Jamar Chase out there. No T. Higgins, though. Are the Bengals going to be able to keep this within 7 points, Mike?
I think so. I mean, Burrow being back, he puts up a fuckload of points, shitloads of yards. He's good against the Ravens. Like, I think that he probably can keep this thing within. It is just going to be how many points does he have to score? I don't know that he's going to have enough. He's going to score enough to beat them. I don't think this team is good enough to beat the Ravens. The Ravens are kind of on that upswing. They're getting healthy. They are in the division lead. They have got to win this game. I expect the Ravens will win this game, but I'm not going to drop the points because Joe Burrow is coming back and he is so successful against the Ravens. 7 points might be right at it. That could be a touchdown loss, and I don't want to fucking push either. So I'm going to take the Ravens on the money line.
All right, I'm going the same. Ravens on the money line. Joe Burrow coming back could absolutely be a boon for that offense, but it's not like the offense hasn't been bad with him not being there. Joe Flacco has done some really good things. And there's always the possibility of having to shake off some of the rust. We've seen what Joe Burrow not playing through the preseason looks like for the first couple of weeks of football. We might see that again. It's absolutely possible that there could be some rust there. It might not be exactly what Bengals fans are hoping for or what Burrow's hoping for. So with that, I'm going to give Baltimore this one on the money line.
All right, and then our Black Friday game, Chicago Bears headed over to Philly. Philly, the favorites, -7, over under 44.5. The Bears riding high, a lot of wins. Eagles coming off of a tough loss, but huge touchdown favorites in this one. Where are you going, man?
I feel like this is a little bit disrespectful to the Bears with how many wins that they've rattled off here in a row. But I kind of get it because I think that their wins are a little bit false. Like, again, all credit to them for getting wins. Absolutely. But there have been a lot of closer games. They've won by the skin of their teeth. And if they keep that trend going where they keep it close, and I think that they could theoretically do that versus Philly, giving Chicago the 7 points there seems like quite a bit of advantage to them. That being said, I'm going to go with Philly on the money line. I like Philly to win this game, but it is worth taking a look at the 7 points there for the Bears and considering putting that in as part of a parlay because it's going to be way better odds than just taking Philly on the money line. Unless you really feel bullish on this Bears team, then you can take the Bears on the money line plus 265 odds. I don't know that they're as good as their record indicates right now. And I think that this might kind of be the precipitous fall for the rest of the year for this Bears team because they're not going to be able to continue to string together these kind of 1-score, 3-point, 2-point wins like they have been in recent weeks.
That makes sense. So, man, this is really tough for me to go here because I think that the Bears are playing better. Man.
The 7 points is way more tasty than the 7 for the Bengals for me.
Yeah, it is. But another thing I also kind of like in this game is the over 44.5, and I might talk myself into it. Looking through schedules here, we obviously know that the Eagles are capable of playing a great game any week and putting up some points, but they have not nearly been consistent doing that as we have seen. But looking at the Bears, they have scored over 20 points in every game but one, and that was against your Vikings. So they have the ability to fucking score. I'm going to rock over 44.5 right here. And I think that we can get some points. I just, that Bears offense has found ways to get it done. Ben Johnson is a wild man. He will figure some shit out. The only thing you have to worry about is reining Caleb Williams in so he doesn't just fucking randomly flick the ball out of his hands while he's standing in the fucking end zone. But I mean, that does result in 7 points. So I like points here. Over 44.5 is where I'm going.
All righty. Well, man, that'll wrap it up then for our early games of week 13.
Did you take the points?
I'm taking Philly on the money line. Philly on the money line. Definitely, I feel like a safe card so far in the early part of this card for me.
Yeah.
So mostly favorites or taking points for teams I think that could absolutely win there with the Dallas game. But we'll be coming back to you later this week after we're good, thick, and full of food and see how we did in these games and predict the rest of them. Mike, you got anything else for us to go over today?
I don't, brother. We've been talking about race all day today. Been making a lot of racial jokes. Sorry, I tried to talk to Tom Brady. He told me he was the only one that gets the pass. I don't know how he got it. I don't know what he did, but nobody else is getting it. So don't say that word, everybody. But that's all I got.
All righty, man. Hey, I immediately rewound it, got a recording. I was like, I didn't know it was Tom at the time. I didn't realize who had said it. I did like the little chuckle because he knew exactly how he fucked up.
Yeah, he knew exactly what happened.
Yep.
Oh man, what a terrible thing to have happen to you. Like just to hiccup on your word on that word.
Yeah. Hey, it's broadcasting. It's bound to happen to everyone that does it for long enough.
Yeah.
Especially when you say it in your car all the time and things like that, you know.
I do that by myself with Lil Wayne on. I don't do that in front of anybody else.
I got you.
Yeah. All right, man. I appreciate you, and to everybody else who's out there who tuned in, thank you guys very much. Time is the most valuable thing that you have. So anytime you give some of it to us, we are forever grateful. With that, I'm going to give Evo one last word.
Hey, it is Thanksgiving just in a couple days. Be happy, spend time with your family, enjoy the holidays, check in on your buddies, and we will see you later this week. Talk about how your holiday went and how these football games went and the rest of week 13.
Absolutely. Guys, have a safe and beautiful Thanksgiving from everybody here at Raw Dog Sports and the entire No Sleeves Network. We wish you a happy holiday and be safe. We'll see you on the backside. See you guys on Saturday. With that, we're getting the fuck out of here. See ya.